young people of today being offered $600 salary on the NEP as to what kind of how does that adjust to the life that we live in today when the bread has gone up by 1,000% and you want to pay somebody 50% of a 1970 salary? That can't be right, man.
Correct.
That cannot be correct. That can't be right on the youth of tomorrow. That cannot provide you for a future. That is working poverty.
Yeah, it's simple math. Yeah, I want to be no rocket scientist.
A Vapor Max is $800, Maggie.
Wow.
So you're working and you cannot afford the in-style shoes. $600, $300 a fortnight.
That, if you have to pay transportation, you have to eat or lunch, right?
But if your girlfriend Maggie is an NEP worker, that's $1,200 household income, eh? And then let's face the reality, $1,200 household income for no two young people together, cannot raise no child, cannot pay bills in the house. That is just living in poverty, in absolute poverty.
Definitely.
You might feel you're getting her, but you're spinning in circles going nowhere. You're always looking for a strength from somebody.
To me, not even a treadmill anymore. It's
backwards.
Trust me.
You see the salary people earning in Dominica, the young people, the old people across the generations, it's not sufficient for the living. Because if in 1970 $300 was a low income, right, and bread was 5 and 10 cents, and you're telling me in 2021 $600 and the bread is $1.25, how that looking out?
No government will love people.
How that working out?
No government will love people.
I remember when I was going SM, when I entered SM in 1992, my brother, a soft drink, my soft drink disposable, a soft drink was $1. The half liter soft drink was $1.50. $1.50. No, a half liter is $5. $5 for a half liter. And you're telling me you're giving the youth man of today $600, and you're giving the employment that paying thousands of dollars, giving a man the ability to save on a salary to the Chinese and to all foreigners that come on the island. But the youth man of today, the youth girl, have to get $600. A coke is $5. The man adjusting life or monies in Dominica with the inflation, with the cost of living. Because currently the Prime Minister came in and raised his salary 50% twice to adjust his cost of living.
What the people that put in there
now, I want to say something to do with the minimum wage, with the $4.05. You understand me? Now, a lot of people will check like, okay, the minimum wage is $4.05, but people don't really get the minimum wage. But what they don't understand is, it is the minimum wage. Therefore, the employees. There are people, but a lot of people checking like they don't get in that. They get in more, so they don't want to checking like it says that, but they're not getting that. But then.
No, I understand what Maggie is saying.
That is what the minimum wage is. Wow.
But what Maggie is saying, Byro, is some people watching their page stub and when they do the math checking, but I'm not getting that. So it's like they don't pay attention to it because it's not their base.
What I think they need to do, they need to define what is poverty. Because just like what you say, yes, a man might be getting a little more than $27.50 or $4.05 for his hour. But at the end of the day, what defines poverty is getting $4.50, is getting $50 for your day.
Well,
So if you're getting $50 for a day, are you still considered to be poor? If you're unskilled, if you're semi-skilled, are you still considered to be falling in the bucket of poor person? If you're a farm worker, with a salary of say $50 a day, are you still considered poor? And it's just like what you say back then, in the 70s, 80s, the inflation to the salary was kind of different. The proportions were different, but now, if you look at it, $600, and you look at the expenses, a bus ride from Newton to Roseau is less than 15 minutes walk. A bus ride from Newton to Roseau is $1.75. Right. So imagine every day you have to make 1, 2 trips.
2 trips. You go down, you come back up. $4.
You have children to send to school.
Every day, each person costs $4. Let's pay $2.
So you have
$3.50.
3 days, 4 days. Now you say you have children to send to school. That's still. But what I feel that needs to be done is the poverty. You see, like when they tell you, you're below the poverty line. Right, you live in a low income. And today, I was really thinking about that a little bit because I looking at, for instance, the government housing and even the government assistance program. And I look at the situation, you know, alcoholics, drug addicts, well, let's just put it as drug addicts. Which and yes, they get in assistance, but is the assistance geared towards upliftment or removing them out of the situation they are in? Like for instance, if you're a drug addict, there are some type of requirement that, for instance, you might have to go to a rehab center before you can get assistance, or for you to get assistance, or to show some type of way that you're serious about improving your life and bettering yourself as a person, as an individual, because you're taking the assistance to do what?
The assistance people get.
Continue perpetuating poverty.
Yes.
So what is the sense of that?
Because basically the assistance people get in survival, not nothing to elevate them beyond basic survival. There is no policy.
Exactly.
For example, today I was walking down the street and I saw a gentleman snake cleaning the side of the road down by us. So I asked him yeah, you working man. They'll be paying you. Because as I pass, they giving a man a 6 for and telling him man a volunteer you doing. So I said, what a volunteer you doing? That means a job you doing, you're not working NEP, you're doing a job. But then I'm watching that, isn't that the identical same job that Roseau City Council people doing in Newtown, cleaning the side of the road? So that redundant activity that happening between Roseau City Council, that contract, and the NEP workers, what value is that? What value is that for us as a people? And the amount that, but the most important, city council is charged with that responsibility, yet you have the power rep giving a contract to a job for a job that already taking place in the community, 100% paid for already by taxpayers' dollars. So she's repeating the expense
Just to
on
see.
the back of the taxpayers.
Yeah.
So somebody will say she's doing and she helping. But the gainful employment in Newtown, which is and was the health center, only got 3 employees from Newtown with a steady salary every fortnight. So what exactly are these people's policies where it comes to gainful employment for we the people? And the young people, the middle-aged people, even the old people that want to work, have to recognize the fact by now that the government of today is not about gainful employment or value employment for the people of Dominica. They're not about an employment where the people are going to save, where you can have access, where you can gain access to invest, where you can gain access to buy land, where you can gain access to, for you not to be under pressure every time you need to buy something.
You know, if you have to look at it, in our culture, well, I mean the culture of civilization of today, the only way you can really get out of poverty or alleviate yourself is through economic activity.
Yes.
So basically it's talking about money, exchange of money, trade, demand and supply, economics generally speaking. Now, in the whole definition of this economics and the advancement of society, we would have to look at, for instance, like the definition you need to define what is poverty. Because Dominica poverty may not be like
Jamaican poverty,
right,
or even Indian
European,
poverty.
because a lot of the things we get them based on American indexes, European indexes, and so on.
Yes.
So we pattern off of those, but in our context, it's different.
We never hungry and the food always on the tree to fall down behind somebody's yard.
Where we live, people consider it to be paradise because you can easily get
eat.
food.
Food is never our problem in
not really a
Dominica.
problem, but the economics of life is a problem.
Yes.
Major problem.
You check. So you might not be able to afford electricity, you might not be able to afford water, you might not be able to afford a
Shoes.
vehicle, you might not be able to afford
Shoes.
luxury items when you
No,
I'm talking about basic.
Let me just interrupt you for a story.
It have shoes.
But Pyro, the other day I hear a story, my brother.
No, but
I
that's
don't
what
want
I'm
to take
saying.
her shoes for granted in Dominica right now. When a man, listen to a story a police officer give us.
Oh yeah.
A man from the countryside was caught for theft. What is his theft? A pair of shoes for his daughter. The police had to confiscate the shoes from the girl. The girl is crying that is the only pair of shoes she has, which is a shoe her father stole from another little girl. But he's telling the police he will pay for the shoes. If he had money, my brother, he's a security guard, you know, Pyro, the father. If he could afford on a security guard salary, that's the kind of level of poverty we live in Dominica.
So you have to define the poverty. So yes, he's a security guard, his salary is what?
$600.
No. How far can $600 really take you?
He renting a house for $500. You have $100 left over for light and food. Let's face the reality. Rent is $500 in Dominica. So that man, if he's the only breadwinner in the house, you tell me after rent paid, that house will have $100 left over. So you know, ma'am, he's selling pum pum, or the daughter taking man on the side. But Pyro is the reality of what
you have to get through certain things. What is the sense of somebody working when their salary can get them nowhere?
it's called slavery.
Yes.
As this gentleman, right? working for $600 or whatever salary it might be. But at the end of the day, he cannot even provide the basic wants and the basic needs
for his family.
Exactly. So what is the sense of this individual going to work every day and trying not just to survive, but to provide
and elevate.
To provide for his family. Elevation even out of his realm. Because I mean, whether you have to be able to have extra for you to be able to elevate.
What did I tell you, the man?
Let me put a little piece in there. You see that thing there of having pride in being a hard-working person. I do not in that, but when it to the extreme, you can interpret it as a trauma response. You check me? Yeah.
No.
Because a lot of people taking pride in that thing to say like, boy, they working hard and thing, and
But what's that? His pride gone because remember he stole to provide for his daughter.
Yeah.
He can't afford.
Right. So yeah, it is. Whether if a man going to work, that's why I tell you, the man lost his dignity in the economic situation of trying to provide for his family. No, the Constitution in itself, in the prelude of the Constitution, telling you that no man should have to face that situation, to be forced into a situation of slavery. Because you're working and your salary, your wages cannot even meet your basic needs. So it's like you've been forced into a situation where you need to work and you must work, but the wages is not even being sufficient enough that you can provide for your family. Now, what is the government policy on assisting an individual like that to get him basically out of that situation?
You can only work your way out of that situation for higher value, Paulo. Giving you anything can take you out of that
It's
situation.
not giving, that's what I'm asking. So what is it? That's what I'm stating. What is the government's position and policy for an individual in that situation?
Maggie, answer any question. Maggie, go ahead. You answer any question.
The answer to the question is the government wants you to come and beg them for assistance and tell them, Mr. Sir, this is my situation, I can't afford this and that. Yeah,
Yes.
red clinic, that's it.
But in that situation, okay, go ahead, Paulo.
That is why I just say the government, I don't want to say, well, yeah, Labour Party posing as the government, forcing and using victimization and discrimination to force Dominicans to support Labour Party. So somebody in a situation like that, but the government have no real official policy to say, well, yes, this person definitely entitled to some type of poverty alleviation program or whatever it may be. No, you have to be a supporter. You have to show that you support the party. So the party rep can assist you.
Yes, sir.
Or the Prime Minister will assist you in his red clinic program.
One of them will assist you in the
But
corporation.
they don't have nowhere to say, well, yeah, you definitely meet a certain level and you below the poverty line or you below whatever it may be, and you definitely need assistance and you're entitled to that assistance. So it might have an education program to say to educate you and get you as a skilled worker or get you on a higher level where you can have that higher salary. Because you have a family to provide for. Exactly. So you can maintain your dignity. You can have your pride as an individual. You check. how now you in this situation going to provide for your family? What it have? You check, just like what you said, Maggie, there are food stamps now because we don't have them things. So it's not like to say you can call them food stamps and say, well, boy, based on food stamps, you can be able to provide for your family.
I can check them.
You don't have that. Now that is why I say our level of poverty and our poverty different. There is an individual that might be living in the country or have his family in the country. They might be able to send food for him and he might be able to feed his family based on that. You check. But what about the rest of the situation? What is the real purpose of that individual working when the wage he earning cannot provide basic needs?
Now it brings me to the question I asked before. Well, where I was going before with that $4.05. Like, what? Why? Since when has that always been the minimum wage $4.05 for?
Does not.
Huh?
No.
It used to be higher?
Lower.
It used to be lower? So when did it reach $4.05 and how long has it been $4.05?
I can't remember, man.
I think it was increased one time in the early 2000s. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was one revised in the early 2000s.
Like, why would you want to leave it at that? What is it? What does that?
I can answer you, Maggie.
Yes, sir.
Because we are pretentious people in culture, you check me. We pretentious. You see the whole thing I was talking about, that we like to talk about we working hard. When somebody come and complain and think, some people, the first thing that out of them is how hard they working, for what they have, and you check me. You understand what I say?
So
what I say is that in itself can be construed as a trauma response, my brother. It's not normal for somebody to want to just work themselves into their grave without enjoying, the fruits of your labor. And a lot of people, I don't know if maybe because they murder all their personal relationships and their social life so that they can work hard to have the position they have. So they want other people to be bitter like them. But I believe if you're working hard, you ought to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
definitely.
You check? But some people working hard and then go and pray about their rewards in heaven, because life on earth for them is to just work hard. And when young people are working hard like them,
Well, what I can say about that?
Well, what I can see,
Yes, Rasta, come through.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Selassie, Rastafari, contribution to the Rastafari movement. What I see today now is there is what we call a stock market from overseas, which all the foreign countries depend on to rebuy, to sell, to make business. So according to the stock markets overseas, the country always fluctuates. Prices raise up and prices go down. Now in a small country like in the Caribbean, where we don't have no industrious business, everybody is claiming on an individual circumstances of workmanship, because there's no provisions for workmanship for the people of the country. So even if you go into agriculture and you're planting food, if you haven't got a proper market, then your products cannot sell. And according to how you plant your products, people look at organics, whether it's chemicals. So you have to have good products in order to have a good marketing. And you also have to have a good relationship to your customers, so that you can always have customers coming to you regularly, so that your business can fluctuate. Nothing ever comes just today and tomorrow. Everything takes time, and through time, there's always a proper growth of your business or your economy. But if you rush in things, you'll always leave things left out. For a man that don't have no education or is not of a precept of a personal relationship, sometimes you might be left out simply because maybe the boss man or the person who is in a business doesn't favor you, and that is one of our downfalls in our country. We tend to pick and like and choose who we want, especially even if the person don't have skills. But once we feel good about the person, we give them the job. Number one, another thing again, we are not consistent in our works because some of us we tend to choose the wrong position just for chorality and name. And we are some of us our job really is not in the right lineage. So we find that we are not doing what we are supposed to do. Another thing again, for the in the government, as I can see, as most governments, from the time I know myself in Dominica, most governments, you see, they only watch others' mistakes and try to correct it. And if one was doing something good, I think they would always remain in power all the time. So people look for different changes because they are seeing what other governments not doing, and the next government who sees what the other government is doing is going to put something different in order for them to gain the power. The whole clarity of governmentship is to control the destiny of people's life, because one could not be controlled by the churchical order. As you know, people were brought here as slaves. Since after slaves had get their independence through freedom fighters, government has addressed to unite and to congregate and to control the people's destiny, that they will not be independent of their own and have their own individual businesses. So therefore now tax like Pharaoh has to come in and tax everybody, whereas if you don't have a salary or you're not drawing a salary, you're entitled to be taxed. And mostly if you haven't got economical growth or a growth to give you a substantial of benefits, where there is money or food, you tend to left out and depend on the government as a beggar. Normally government don't really assist people who are individual only if you are parents of children, most likely mothers. They would more assist mothers with children, because fathers, they tend to see that fathers can be vulnerable to their family. They will just leave children behind and then leave mother, and then there is no labor in the house. So government has to pay a price and a position for that. That is another downfall.
Okay. Now you see something there, son, I feel, yeah, it's really important that we have to look back when we speak about the economics of life, survival.
Well, I will answer that to you.
I have to look back. Because when you talk of the slavery.
Well,
and one of the things about slavery, no, I'm just saying, I agree with what you're saying. But one of the things, slavery didn't just end because of revolt. Part of the reason slavery ended was that the plantation owners realized that slavery had become unprofitable, or it was becoming unprofitable, because they were responsible for all the slaves. They had to house and clothe all the slaves, and the slaves had become rebellious. Some of them, man, was rebellious. You know, some of our ancestors were really rebellious to us. So it was costly. It was costly to the plantation owners. So they realized that if you allow people to fend for themselves, you give them a wage, what you work for is that you get paid. but the weight supposed to have value to it. You know, so if you work, you can meet your needs.
What I would like,
You know,
what,
so
yeah, go ahead.
to see today in this situation that a man would be working and not be able to meet his needs or his family's needs, right? And his employer, so his employer now must know or should know this individual situation.
Let me just say something, Pyro, before I start continue, because all you're talking there and is what had come into my mind is the imagery that come into my mind for us as a people. To me, we could couple that slave and thing. To me, it feels like we're working on the farm in Canada. We leave Dominica and we fly to Canada. We work in the farm, but by the time we get paid, we don't buy how much toothbrush, how much toilet paper, how much this, how much that, and we owe in the farm all of a sudden, and we're in slavery to the farm, and all our subsequent paychecks is to the farm because we owe in, and that's how we live in. We live in owing life to the system
That is what I
that
want.
never
That is
can
what
be
I-
paid.
That is what I want to come.
Because always this, I remember as Pyro said, they couldn't afford. They give us a wage to pay a life.
Yeah.
But it was their system.
It was
And
their
the wage
system.
they give us,
Yes.
they design their system for them to grab everything back. So they pay you $100, they want $105
That is
back.
what I am. Right.
And that is what we're living under, and we are independent people,
Right.
and the government haven't break from the mentality that they are not slave masters, they are not the king, they are not the queen, but they are our brothers and sisters that are to share the bread, not exploit and extort the bread out of their brothers.
And they really extorting it.
Boy, I would like to finish saying about the slave trade is that because the economy is not substantial is because government take in hold from the massa to control the minds and the hearts of the people. Now you cannot control a nation and you haven't got a big budget to give everybody a salary without even yourself working. So what I am saying, each and every individual can work, but where do your work go to? And what I have seen in Dominica is that when you hold back land on people, you are actually condemning them, because that is where workmanship comes from. You need to have land in order for you to establish yourself. Now, when I was a little youth, growing up as a child, to be a man now, slave was very difficult in Dominica. You could not go certain places, you could not be in certain locations, you will get arrested. The lands was priority to the master, you had no access to certain lands, you could not cross certain areas, you had to make the big wrong. All that is just a matter of manipulating and robbing the people from their destiny. If you have no land, you have no growth. And if this in the time of when slaves had access to all the land in Dominica, they would have an economy, because everybody would grow and develop whatever item they would have. And then it is for the government now to make marketing for these people so that these people can get sale for whatever products or whatever there is.
Let me interject a little there.
Yeah.
If you rewind
Yeah.
to the time they talking about the milk and honey there,
The milk and honey.
so we was living.
Right, so in terms of
Yeah.
this development, if the land structure is not developed by the own set of people who actually labored for this country and labored for the mass and give them all the garden, and yet they cannot do it for themselves, then you're actually robbing your brother from survival, because you're taking all the strength from him. So that is why the country has no economy, because you enslave the people, they have no economical growth, you still put tax on them. It's like turning stone to bread. It's like actually telling people to turn stone to bread. And then when they turn that bread, that stone to bread,
you're taking money.
you still taking everything from them and leave them without. Even the forest, you're taking the forest from them. Now, when I was small, we had no priority to cut trees. Now trees have been cut just to hold up concrete structures for decades and everything. So basically, slaves had no right to the forest to have access to wood in order to build their houses.
Yeah.
Today, what I have seen is that Maria has come and taken all these logs and woods and put it in our face by the bay when these woods were supposed to be our home.
Fire.
Rather than importing wood from foreign, and we have no salary to come and buy this material, and we still have to pay tax, and we still have to pay wages and importment for this material. So what they are doing, business people are having friendship and relationship with governments that they can get certain deals with the government, and government are favoring them because they are benefiting on these business people, and the local people who are enslaved and work hard for this land still haven't got a piece of pie of the land structure for them to make their homes. And the land now is there for a tourist who doesn't live there, just for tourists to come and admire the country for a piece of dollar, and the same set of dollar that they get is to enslave more people to work the land, and yet they still don't have a piece of the land for
Let me put a little piece at the end of that there.
Go ahead, my lawyer.
And now they want to open the gate.
And now they want
who that have money
who have money
to come and take
to come and take
To buy our land.
to take our land.
And
So
leave
this
us
is
without.
pure
and
robbery
leave us without.
and leave us without. And tax and put tax on us, tax on us in every simple things, and the same government who are the same set of people who are just like us, maybe have a different way of thinking, but they don't seem to realize that the land they are utilizing, it is not ownership for them. It was given to them by the Almighty to work, not to be ownership. Because the same scripture people are reading and praising the Almighty. He tell you in the first Genesis, He give us this land to multiply and to replenish. He didn't give us land as ownership. Today a lot of people are playing ownership like the earth belongs to them. And they can do anything with the earth without one conception, but to cause it to be destroyed. And a lot of people are destroying the earth. They are invoking the spiritual part of Mother Nature, and they are playing governor with this earth, and the earth still doesn't belong to them. All the resources in this land belongs to the Almighty, and it is for everybody to use and to have access to. Today it is controlled by governments, ministers, priests, deacons, and yet they are still not the creator of the heavens and the earth. So I want to tell these people in the government, when you are playing games with people's lives on the same planet that the Almighty gives each and everyone to have access to for the liberty and freedom and speech, you are controlling the minds and state of the people by condemning them in your religious and your stigma belief. Because death has no friend and death has no payment. So even if you have all the necessities and the luxuries and money, you still cannot pay for your death. Death is something that if you're not significant with the Almighty to have salvation in your life even after death, then you're doomed and you are condemned. So condemn no one, but to have love for each other, because it's only love and unity that brings life together. Hatred doesn't bring nothing but war and crime. So if you want to manipulate the people and expect to get good from them, you will not get any good, because you're doing evil for evil. So my brothers and my sisters, to have an economy, you have to help to develop the people on the land that we are settling. Not to develop businesses, because the same business people, they are importing most of the goods from foreign. So they have to find a money and such a way in order for them to pay their bills. We have no economy to encourage us to get a salary so that we can develop a business. So while you are feeding on people's energy and feeding on the tax and utilizing this money in your own free will to your own desires. A lot of us have our own desires for helping to develop our own physical structure, which you are also condemning because you are not giving us the land access to freedom ourselves. Now, in the time of slaves, land was very valuable. No one had access to the land, only but the master. And how do you expect us to grow a population or nation without land access? And all I'm seeing now is that people are putting apartments just to rent to make a money, and we have no areas, no new avenues, but we are going into the same old road all the time. And all you governments are doing is just collecting tax, taking these monies and looking at ways you can spend it. And the generation that is coming today, you have nothing in place for them.
Rastafari, brother.
So what I am saying is that sports doesn't do all the money on sports, education, and all these other access you are putting in place, spending money. People still have living condition problems, and everything starts from your home. Family starts from your home. Discipline starts from your home. Love starts from your home. And if anyone doesn't have a proper home to live or to dwell in, you are discomforted, you are stressed out, and you are not feeling good. Let me tell you something again. How much about you that have big houses and have proper condition problems, and you haven't got nobody because you are in well coverage? And the same set of people that have to get up early morning and come and work for you. How do you look at that? Would you like to be the same in that person condition, that they have living condition problem, you have better living condition problem, and they still have to get up early in the morning to come and clean your yard, sweep your yard for you, and you and I, that you cannot do the same work like I. So when you are manipulating me, you are actually robbing me from my energy. You are still enslaving me without a consent of no gratitude and no compassion and no love. So what I am saying to you, if there is still a discrimination, I would like that discrimination to stop, because a lot of people feel that they doesn't need to go in the graveyard. Your nice clothes, good looks doesn't save you, but if you have a love and a contributed heart and a respect for others, then you have something good in common. Today it's all a business. If you're not in business, there is no friendship. And everybody say no, business before friendship. Where is the togetherness? Where is the familyship? Where is the love? Where is the understanding? How many people go to church and worship God and pray and ask God for forgiveness, and yet you still cannot forgive your brother, you still cannot show your brother love? So what I am saying, there is a division of hypocrites and parasites that live amongst our people, who tend to be very religious and godly, but yet their characters are very simple and evil, because there is still stress and poverty in this country, and nothing has been done, only but worshipping vanity and material things, that even Maria came and showed us the value of these things has no value, but the land is the value. Because when Maria come, we have to look for the land, we have to look for water, we have to look for soil, we have to look for provision, because there was no food coming into the pot. We have to find whatever little necessities have. So what I am saying, all how we do have proper lands, proper land surveying for housing and good proper roads, we are just going to take this land, make it sink, and later down we are going to cause a volcanic eruption because we are not attending to the land as we are supposed to. And what I am saying is that with all this, look at Roseau, for instance. I want to let the government know what's going on. When I go to Roseau, there is thousands of dollars spent in Roseau for big buildings. when you look into the building and see the values of the things that they have, it doesn't make no sense. To secure plastics and all kind of cheap materials you have in a building where people are more valuable than these things, we put this thing more valuable than people, and there are still people that haven't got no shelter. And all I am seeing is tin stuff, chemicals, all kind of things. They are secure in big expensive buildings, and people are still sleeping on the sidewalk, on the road. I want to tell the churches, the government, the deacons, the bishop, and all of them, when you are praying, do not pray in vain, because God doesn't like a vainful person. So put your acts together and see to it that you do good to your brother, and stop trying to look for recognition and position, and you have not started from the foundation to the top. You guys are just skipping and forgetting the true part of your nature and your culture. And stop selling your culture for people who doesn't have no gratitude towards your own culture, because they right now are living more of a sinful life in the foreign than we in Dominica. If you look at the states in America, there is more confusion and hypocrite and killing and stealing and all kind of things. And we in this little island, humble as we are, you are still robbing us from taking the little that we have, and importing unnecessary things that has no value to us and no benefits of our health and our economical growth.
Them ways he have these foreign ways.
Okay?
Them kind of ways.
So when we adapting a foreign lifestyle, and we in Dominica have a different nature of life, why can't we stick to our nature which is suitable for us, than to adapt a foreign lifestyle which doesn't compromise with this country? This country is very mountainous. This country is very mountainous.
That is where we need real people with real vision,
So,
real vibes. Because if you look at it, part of the main responsibility of our government is to maintain the culture, to preserve the culture.
Exactly. And if we
pass
go
that
ahead.
along. Now if we have a government that instead of preserving and protecting our culture, what they're doing is destroying it, breaking it down. It's like, and it's like we the people supposed to be able to recognize that our government is destroying our culture and stand up against that government. It's like, I can never forget I was in St. Martin. By checking, go Dutch side, go French side. The original St. Martin people speaking English. So I asked a Dutchman. No, it was a Frenchman. How comes all you speak in English? Man tell me originally the original language is English, and they always maintain speaking English. Right? So that is why they were colonized by French, they were colonized by Dutch. But before all that, it's English. It's English. So they always maintain speaking their English. They check, and like the governments allow it, they never try to take it away from them. It can make at that time, a long time, that they are trying to stop it. So you could only have to speak French, or you only have to speak Dutch. But then people know really not in that. So the people stood up for what is theirs, what is their culture, what is, and they make the governments understand that they cannot take that away from them.
To force nothing on us. And that's what we're allowing. We're allowing the government to force things on us without our inclusion and our participation, in the discussion to when you want to implement things. You're not asking us. You're not having a communication with us. You're just imposing things and telling you, look, just take what we give you. You never had, and this is what we give you, but How it's like we always
But
say,
you see-
you want a shoe, a man just give you a high heel and tell you, I give you a shoe, you know.
Maggie.
And asking you what is your size.
But then you see that now coming with the erosion of of national pride. When you look around you and you do see nothing that you can point to that was built by Dominican hands. You check me, you have a state house is Chinese that build it. You have everything that coming up is by foreign, you know,
Investors.
investors.
Yeah, exactly.
So the sense of pride, national pride there. You know,
National accomplishment.
Yeah, what you're saying there now, you know that is that by itself is a topic in architecture. I cannot remember
Well, black
the
people
name
was
of it, you know, but it's a phenomenon of modern architecture where I remember at university we learned about that. You check India, Asia on a whole was a major topic because I mean during that time from the 70s, 80s, you check they had what they call a lot of white elephants.
yeah.
So you find the same kind of a thing. The people of the country living in poverty. Remember how India was abject poverty and a lot of poverty, and now they're trying to build their people and live things for their people and build their economy for their people.
Yeah.
They check because they realize, they check whether you had all them white elephants, big museum, thing, Gary, all them man, Canadian architect, American architect, British architect, coming, designing, building in the society.
Yeah.
But the people cannot feel no pride in that, no joy in that. It's just a white elephant
Yeah, but
because it's not
even
big.
more than that.
They don't even contribute nothing to it. It's like everything about it is foreign.
But even
It's
further,
not even reflecting on them as a people.
even further to the lack of ability to have pride in it, you have the demoralizing effect of it as well.
Yep.
You check me?
That is
And
why
when you
now-
have that couple with your leader telling you that, boy, or you cannot deliver, man, you check me, so
That
it's
was
better.
that was one of the reasons. You see, graffiti.
Yeah,
That was one of the reasons graffiti came up with.
yeah.
You check. Yeah, fellas start to deface those buildings and it was a part of a form of rebelling. Is a culture that came up of rebelling against that type of system.
Yeah.
You check. So the white elephants decided to fence them up.
Yeah.
You check and keep people out. And we see the same thing here. You check.
Yeah.
And
We never forgot
we
that.
saying yes, we sending people on story and we doing all kind of a thing. Yet still we're repeating the exact mistakes that were done 40 years ago, 50 years ago. You check. So it's like,
But you see our activism now, and we have our activism operating on one front. When they full up the bullet holes for on the Philip Timothy Memorial and Pinto Bay, the church rebuilding, you know, and when also look at the public library,
White
you know,
wash.
and look at what's the name of the Venus
the
house,
Newton school
you know?
right there.
You need to
So
them man not
it's
about
clear
it.
them man not about preserving our culture and history. You check me. If anything, they would want us to
Building on
forget
the
about
bayfront,
those things.
right, by the fisheries, right, the barrack.
Barakun building, them man
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
repair
the
that.
Barakun building.
Them man don't repair that.
Yeah.
And now some people may say that when you talk about preserving culture and you know the historical sites and stuff like that, some people say like you trying to hinder progress because that progress you have to sacrifice these things for progress.
No, that's
How
not
do you
true.
how would you
Your
That's
culture
right,
is
Maggie,
I just being devil's advocate, eh?
let us look at England.
you
England progressing and England have a part of England. You cannot break a wall. They have to stay the same
Yes,
for
because
200 years to preserve their history and their culture.
I agree.
They're not compromising their history and their culture for their progression.
Exactly.
So why should we accept we should compromise
Their culture.
our history
Yes.
and progression? So my example of that is carnival. Why should we be importing feathers when we had Sensei?
Yeah.
Why should we be ready to fly when we had Sensei?
You see, Mojo, the greatest enemy of the nation is time, you know. You check me? Because when you look at that, the people that design, we trying to preserve, they are testament unto themselves.
Exactly.
Because they standing up to a day like today, when we putting up things and time a hurricane blow that you know.
That don't match up already.
So is in the design, you know, is in the very design of the thing, you know.
It's the pattern.
What
pattern you
that the knowledge is.
Yes, because every country has a different pattern. And if you cannot stick with your own pattern, you know, if you cannot stick with your pattern, you falter. And I think that people put a lot of education before common knowledge or common sense, because there is something which you call common sense, and you cannot mix common sense with education. Common sense is just naturally a natural phenomenon of visualizing the truth and reality of things that are in front of you, you know. And a lot of people put education before common sense. And sometimes that is where people get their downfall. Because if you're not a numpty or you're not a bushman and you have all the education, when times you go face the bush, your education can help you. It's your common sense, your knowledge and your workmanship that is important. So a lot of these people today have so much education, but the value of the education sometimes doesn't help make the land be productive. It just does more break down the land, brickle down the land, cause more heat and dehydration and more pressure in the country. What we're looking for is real engineers, people that have good sense ideas, people who have spiritual mind and thoughts, rather than just the physical part, because the physical part right now is much weaker than the spiritual part. And I see a lot of people are getting weak in the flesh. So the workmanship today is a few than before, and the salaries now for the people who have the little workmanship are getting more money than the people that are doing more work. They're getting less money, and that is what I am seeing in this country and other countries. People that are sitting down with their pen and their paper and they join $1,000 and $3,000 at the end of the month. And man that digging and bending his back and breaking his back to put a food on your table, man, I telling you straight, that is not a good thing. Because I see there's a lot of manipulation in this world and in this country, that a lot of people don't like to work hard, but they depend on somebody to work hard for them and to collect all the money. And that is unfair.
I love what you say. I love that, Rasman.
So what I want to say, stop the boom boom and braggle, and stop trying to con people, because there's a lot of con man that out there and a lot of parasites that out there that is feeding on the well-being of a lot of people in this country.
I want to touch it. Yeah, I like where you go with that there.
Okay.
And the example of that is that the administration, they like to feel like the buck stops with the administration, and understand the reason why the administration is there is because of the people. The people that on the ground. You check it?
And without the people you have nothing, because you depend on the people to sustain yourself.
That's right. So
because when it comes to carnival, when it comes to Christmas, when it comes to, it's the same set of poor people who are putting all the money in your pocket.
Yep.
And when it comes for you buying from them, you watch them with a scorn. And that is what I don't like. And we come and buy from you, but you never come to buy from us.
That's right, brother.
And then you go in the supermarket and buy all the foreign goods, and the local now, you watch us like as if we were poo-poo fly. We have to stop this discrimination, because there's too much discrimination in this country.
What I believe, we have to have pride in ourselves. Because if we again have accepted them too,
yes, sir,
as a people.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, because We see it and we know what it is. So, yes, if for instance, we have an economy that is based on importation, and we as people producing, we can do, but we accepting the culture shift of having things imported and imported. I mean, it's only the people that can allow things who can disallow things, you know. So,
Well, I would say the people and them that are manipulated by the governments and leaders today, these people who have been manipulated, they have no sort of education to understand the transgression of going back and forth in the economy. Because in Dominica and other Caribbean countries, racism was very hard for a lot of people. At the time I was a youth, you could not travel to go anywhere. You had to have papers and documents. Once your color skin was black, it was a problem. So the government has opposed legendary strength on the people simply because the people had to depend on them in order for them to have access to go where they wanted. So up to this day, the government still feel they have the power over the people because the people are not free to the access of their liberty. And if we are to be still enslaved spiritually and mentally, then we cannot get to go nowhere. Because what you're saying that we are like dogs with a chain in our neck, and although we are not free, we have no liberty and no freedom to do what we have.
But Rasta, you say a thing there, you check me. It's like, it's us that Christmas time and thing come in and spend the money to put in the same stores, you know?
Exactly.
So,
If the people, go ahead, go ahead.
when you look at it, just now it's like the LPO will have to you know, because the spending power is not nothing people will be able to afford, you know. When I go out and look at the supermarket, I see they reorganizing shelf and all kind of thing. I even find the inventory they making it smaller, you know. So it's not, you can see the spending power not there. You check? But when it do have money in people's hand to buy, what all those businesses there, what they going to do?
Well,
just close down?
No, what they will
And
do.
that is the question they have to ask themselves.
Well, what they will do, business people, what they do when they're not making sales, they drop their prices. Now, if you're a business person and you have a value date of excess money, even if you put all your stuff half price, you still have what you call your balance of your total of your budget, which is your profit. You can depend on your profit to sustain you and to pay off your workers. And then if you are wise enough, you will go and start a fresh new product and maybe look for a cheaper product in a different country, because businesses are people, if you don't seek or if you don't look at the stock market to know what price is dropping, then you just go anywhere and shop, and when you come back, you might not profit what you sell because your price cannot reach to the heights of getting back your profit.
But you see how it must have a flow, you know, but I believe before we hit the flow, people need to change the mindset of being consumers and start to have the mindset of being producers. So in being productive, you know, that shift in itself will empower, and that is where the creation of wealth will come, because it's a capitalist system, but the people don't understand that capital means access to land, like what you're talking about there, or being able to accumulate enough money, like liquid cash, that you can use as collateral to see. because in the financing institutions is that, you know, is either you have land to secure, you know, as collateral, or you have cash to secure as collateral. So any business endeavor that you're setting out to do, whether it's agro processing, whatever it be, you need access to that thing they call in capital. But rather than being capital oriented, we are more consumer oriented. So let's say a person working by, I don't really want to call names, you know, but a person working in a certain institution, but the person is like an umbrella, so they have different businesses. So by the time you finish and you collect your paycheck, you're working as a cashier in that place. So before you leave the supermarket, you buy your groceries. So that means now out of your paycheck, out of what they pay you, you already done give back the person $250 in groceries. And when you go outside, your children tell you, oh, they're willing to eat something, bam, 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 bam. That same person have a fried chicken and thing shop just down the road.
Franchise.
You go in that franchise there. You spend another $50. You check me? You give that man another $50. So that's $300 out of your paycheck you give back to your employer. Eh? But our people are consumer oriented, so it's the same slavery thing, you know. And that is why you see the brand name thing is the same thing, you know. It's the same concept, you know. A brand, you know. We willingly take that brand and put it on ourselves because we will take our life force and work and commit it towards having that brand. You understand? And that is the consumer mindset. And that is the enslavement mindset. That is the slavery mindset. So until our people start to take their money and start to think about investment and building capital so that they can grow, you know, but
consumers to invest.
yeah, well, you see, we all that to a pyro is
Well,
a-
let
is
me-
a-
No, but boy, hold on,
between
hold
a
on,
rock
hold
and a
on.
hard
No,
place,
no,
eh?
hold on.
let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me hold on, Rasta.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like where Tyron going, so
Where are
and
they from?
Let
You
me
see-
I have the answer to that. I have the answer to that.
That was the same thing I was talking about earlier on. We live in the Western philosophy. Modernization is about consumerism. It's like without consumerism, we don't really have
a modern economy.
voila. It's like
You have to consume
From
the earth
things-
and you have to be consuming chain coin.
from since we had the first industrial revolution, it has always been about consumption. Today we are in the fourth industrial revolution. Right? Where you have the integration of all the different, so you have the Internet of Things, 3D printing, all them different things, biology. No. Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
The industrial revolutions, what they did was make mass production. Every one of them was to increase production, to increase consumption,
Yeah.
to increase profit. So even if we invest, we still into the consumption. That is just one. But the problem is about the whole distribution of things.
Yeah.
We have an economy. The economy is supposed to be based on control. But we here, okay, our economy is supposed to be built for us,
Yeah.
not to please a Chinaman,
Yeah.
Not too basic.
not to satisfy an Arab, but to satisfy Dominicans, whether that Dominican may be from Arab origin. But it's not to satisfy an Arab living in Dubai, not to satisfy Chinese living in China. Come in here, taking the resources and repatriating it to their country. That is not what our economy is supposed to be about to any other economy. You check me. Yes. Countries can assist one another. People helping one another. But at the end of the day, how we going to be able to build as a society if we don't have that type of economic activity? You check? And now we're doing things based on, just like what Rasta was saying there, who we like. You check? It's not about capability, it's not about what you can do, how you can do it. But it's who we like, you check, and we're seeing it. So that creating an environment for pure discrimination and pure victimization. You check me. So we have a government today that giving out no bid contracts. You check, we are feeding supposed to create a level of transparency and a level of accountability. You check me. But when you say, okay, for instance, MMCE was made developer, sole developer of basically all government projects. You check? So MMC now take over and distributing government contracts who they feel like. Because it don't really have a tendering process to say, well, okay, boom, airport coming, well, X amount of firms tendered and this one had that amount of bid and that one had that amount of bid and you don't have that. Them man in their club and just decide, well, yeah, I just giving that to Mr. because Mr. is my partner, or I like Mr. Vibes, I like Mr. Energy. Nothing about, boy, national pride and building the country and say, well, okay, that is a company that was grown locally and it have a better bid against that company or against that international company. Nothing like that. No fairness, no even playground, no nothing. So we have no grounds for growth, we have no grounds for expansion, we have no grounds for nothing, because the companies that are getting the opportunities are companies that are already built, and not companies that looking to grow their capacity. Because man just talk about, boy, oh, them man not capable. No. You have the knowledge, you have the capabilities. If the opportunity provides itself, you can expand your capacity. You check me? Because today, yes, it can be a small firm. Tomorrow, I just tell man, I saw Reno as a small firm in St. Lucia in Corinth, you know, my brother, 2006. I can never forget that. I went to Reno for work. Reno was just a small firm with a few trucks. Today, Reno is the largest construction company in St. Lucia, my brother.
Yeah, this construction company,
because they were given opportunities, they were provided with opportunities by their government. Can we say that our government is doing that for us as Dominicans in Dominica?
Nope.
Let me even go further to say the projects like what you're talking about there are capital projects. So in the government interest for local companies to win those bids there, because they are the ones that employing local people, and that money there, when they pay salaries and they spend their money in the local economy, that money will circulate and trickle back to the treasury
And
for the government to use again.
the thing about it too,
So I don't see, it don't make no logical sense to me why they would want every dollar on those major capital projects to be repatriated out of Dominica.
one of the things that this,
Especially when it's our CBI money.
you see, one of the things them man been doing, and people saying is washing money, but it's not washing money, it's defrauding the state.
Yeah.
Because when a man take on a project and he inflate the cost of the project, you just like take for instance the apartment building. When you say one small apartment under 1,000 square feet an apartment that not even, which 1,000 square feet, now them apartment not even 800 square feet, Bridget. Huh? And you say them apartments cost $400,000 publicly, right? You don't even give a shit about, yo, like, other people can see straight off, that is a lie. You check me? You have construction professionals. You check? And that was the same issue with the bridge. You check? That is why part of the case was an embezzlement case.
That's why, that's what that flipped Tosi, Trevor, what's his name? Trevor Johnson switch.
So when you look at it, an apartment, let us say 800 square foot apartment, to be telling a man that costs $400,000. So that means you're inflating the cost of the project, right? And the rest of the money, where it's going to?
In somebody's pocket.
Exactly.
$800 million worth of it.
Exactly. So, guys like this, man, when man talking about them man washing money, not really wash money. Them man defrauding the country. So them man robbing from Dominica, them man robbing from each and every one of us.
Yes, sir. What I see is a pure manipulation in the minds of the heart and set of people who doesn't consider their brothers and their sisters as they're supposed to. Number one, if a country hasn't got a budget or hasn't got an industry to put that money in the treasury, it means that you're just going to take money from people to put into your treasury and to pay civil servants, workers.
Yeah.
Now, what I am saying to my brothers and sisters, because you are taxing them all the time to use your values to be substantial, I think you're doing it in the wrong way, because we are a country, we don't make our money. If we were making our money, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
So what I am saying is that if I was the Prime Minister of Dominica, I would allow a free port for a period of a time to allow Dominicans to have access to bring in things that is valuable and necessary to this country to help develop themselves.
Yes, man.
In order taxing them, and there is not a proper salary to reach to their demands and to their budget. And then at the end of the day, these people are weak and broken down because they work so hard, they don't have no time to sit down and enjoy their workman and their labor. So what I am saying, if you are trying to make people turn bread, to stone into bread, you have to give some people a free access of liberty, because we are not producing things that we import into our country. We have to go and buy it,
Which we should, Rasta.
which we should, and we have to import it, and then we still have to pay to take it out. So when we have to spend all that money and we are still not budgeting a salary to help to develop, we are making a lot of sacrifices in order for us to reach where we are getting. And some of you are not making that sacrifice at all. So what I am telling the government, if you are not giving the people a free allowance to get the act together, you are robbing them and are thieving them every day without giving them a strength so that they can build up their spiritual and their culture. We are just taking from them every day, and while they're getting poorer, you guys are getting richer. And if we are like brothers and sisters, we are not supposed to tax one another. We are supposed to give and share in love and unity. There's no point you go to church every Sunday and pray to your God, and at the end of the week, you just taxing your brother constantly like that. And using the same land that our Creator and the gods of the heaven has given all of us to inherit. You are taking it from us.
Let me ask you a question, because a man told me something here. So how you find it? The airport will take up to 20,000 passports
to build.
How do you find that, brother told her? That the airport could take up to 20,000 passports.
Why?
No, I want we have to talk. Yes. The airport will take almost 20,000 passports to build.
So you have to say, wait.
That's
First thing,
the piracies of
we
that's
do
So what you have to do, find out the price of the airport and then multiply that to say
No. I
you
don't
have to
really.
divide it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before let me ask this question.
You have to say about that.
Yes, hold on, yes. Let me apply your
The
comment.
airport supposed to be completed by 2025.
By when?
2025.
By when? Around where, man? Around where, man?
Hold on, bro.
Let me hear the man have to say.
So if you telling me now 20,000 passport citizenship in how many years? That is how many years?
4 years.
In 4 years, right? So in 4 years, Dominica is supposed to acquire 20,000 citizens in order to build
An airport.
that airport.
So if we don't get that 20,000 people,
No. Hold on.
want to
Let the
know
man finish.
why
Yeah.
Let the man
is it
finish.
if that man view that as something that is possible, or they know that it is possible to sell that amount of citizenships in that
Okay, Pyro.
space of time.
Okay, Pyro.
So I would like to know how many passports have been sold.
Okay, that's Pyro question. In the past, Tyron, go ahead.
well, Pyro start. You see in the end of Pyro, in the tail of Pyro there, my question started. You check
In the
me,
past.
which is
The past tense question technically.
we don't even know how many passports that sell already.
Exactly.
Okay, I see. Okay, we're going on a pass. What?
Wait. And wait.
No, he's in the past.
You
In the past. Hold on. You have a comment on that?
the present in it up there?
Go ahead, man. Let me hear. Maggie, you want to go ahead, Maggie? Let me hear.
What you need the presence in it?
The present side here.
The present.
The presence.
So the presence is 20,000 passports have to sell first. Who is the one selling the 20,000 passports?
Okay, that is your question. Who's selling? The
Who's
white
the one
man
selling?
again.
Have a
Like
cherry
MMC.
in front of
No.
it.
No, hold on now.
Go ahead,
before
go
we go
ahead.
to the MMC.
Yes.
Have a cherry.
What is MMC? A developer or investor?
For those Roman numerals.
No, let's know what it be. A developer
Okay, no,
or
this,
investor?
no.
He is a firm of lawyers.
Hold on, fellas.
Immigration
No, Pyro wanted to know in the time frame, and if the time frame possible in the past, how many? Tyron wanted to know how many. Told on to know. Hold on.
Yes, no, you kind of missing the point of
I don't
what
make no
was saying.
point yet, my brother.
No, I tell you, you're kind of missing the point. Of
But I don't make no point. No,
No, you
listen.
say I wanted to
I
know
want to
in
know
the past.
where
But
did
my
Byron and
question, hold on,
electoral
Tyrone.
reforms
My thing is not really
fall
about
in
the
that whole
past. You know.
thing?
I want to
I
see
said
the
time
relativity
Of the time frame
of
of
what
not.
you're projecting
Yes.
and what has been.
Yeah, what has been.
I want to know what is the
But I tell you,
relativity,
Tyrone.
because now, if you're telling me in 4 years you can project to sell 20,000
How
passports,
many are selling already?
in that 4 years that one
My
girl,
brother, hold
are
on.
you able to sell
Hold on, my brother.
20,000
That's
passports
not my brother.
for you to say, well, okay,
Oh, you missing?
and that money from that
Hold on,
From
my
that
brother. You
20,000,
miss. Oh, you
that
missing?
20,000 that
Oh, you
sold
missing?
already. That 20,000 that sold already.
Oh, you missing the point, my brother.
Yeah.
If in 5 years, 20,000 citizenships can be sold, Dominicans, naturally born, will be an endangered species on the piece of stone, my brother. We will be sold out of our own country, my brother, to build that airport.
But
White
hold
passport.
on.
How many that sell before?
Not
Hold
before.
on.
But it's important.
But remember, Labour Party selling passports. Okay. The government of the Commonwealth of Dominica selling passports for over
Yes.
20 years. Now,
And they've
Labour,
ne-
hold on. You check. I tell you keep interrupting me and you don't get in the gist of
I
what
get
come
this
in.
gist of what you said long ago, you know, my brother.
Well, if You were able to sell 20,000 passports 4 years ago. Huh? So in the 20 years, huh? Okay, let us say 15 years.
2014.
Let us say 15 years. Let us say 15 years. How many passports or citizenship were you able to sell? That you see that same thing you're saying there? We could already be an endangered species.
And man said, he ain't that kind of chicken grill.
Not, I'm even thinking about 2 more rules. I'm telling you which. That is why I'm telling you, I want to understand the relativity of
My
the
possibility.
projection.
The business growing, my brother.
Only ready to hear my next question.
Well, sometimes people might buy a passport and they might not even want to come to the country.
Nobody
Just to the
business
fact that
growing.
they buy the passport
Still
and
be
they rather to travel elsewhere. But if these 20,000 people would come to Dominica and spend their economy in the country, then it will be different.
Yeah.
So what the government is doing is selling. No one doesn't know the value of some of the passports. And when he brings in that money is just spent lavishly without no industry, nothing. So actually, passport selling and the government has no view, no industrial business to make the land be something developed for the people so that they can have something in return.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, when I look into Dominica, we have no agricultural product of what we had was fig before, and then fig started to die out. But now we still haven't got something that is valuable, even in the agricultural sector, to manufacture so that we can produce and sell. Actually, what we really have is just water alone. And all our land has been sold for millionaires, and these millionaires now are coming to this country doing what they want, and we ourselves, that is the citizens and ambassadors of this country, we have no right to this land access for us to be productive so that we have something to claim as our own, so that we ourselves can be productive and have something to even give to the government and give to the people that we can grow.
This is a national security situation, my brother, that passport program.
Exactly.
I have to stop,
Yeah.
my brother. A few people cannot be getting rich against something that destroying our national security.
Yes,
my
brother.
No,
That
that
was
is where I was coming to. Richard, no, selling citizenship is selling the patrimony, or they call it there. So, you basically,
I want to just.
you basically selling the what they call it,
Your birthright to a
not a
country.
matter of birthright,
You're
but you're
selling a
selling,
birthright.
hold on, it's not a matter of birthright, you're selling, now you say for instance, you're selling, how you can call it now, like a national commodity,
Well, it's not
something that's
birthright.
supposed to belong
The
to the
people.
country.
Birthright.
Right, to the people of the country. No, it's not a matter of birthright.
But that's your
Listen to what I
birthright.
say,
Yeah.
and you will understand. You check. What you sell in there is like something that is of a national, like
you have to eat right.
a patrimony. You check the patrimony. You check. So boom,
It's a privilege. You're born from the land.
is a patrimony,
Yeah.
something like a national resource, something. So let us say you sell in that.
Your birthright is selling a passport.
But when you relax yourself now, man, you say what you say. Just
You're selling
listen
your
to what I
birthright,
say.
brother.
You have your view, listen to what I
Yes, but
say. You
I
check.
will say something, a birthright, man. Selling
You
a
say what
birthright.
you say,
Go ahead,
listen
go
to
ahead,
what
go
I
ahead,
say.
go ahead.
Don't try and tell me what
Go
to
ahead,
say.
man.
I'm saying what I
Go
say.
ahead, go ahead.
So basically, the patrimony, you check me? No. Let us look. If that is something that's supposed to be entitled to everybody, shouldn't everybody be benefiting from the sale of that?
Yo.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
No, let us take a look at the Middle Eastern countries. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, all of them.
Norway, even those places.
Now, you know, when them man sell their oil,
Everybody gets.
all the citizens of the country gets a cut. When the government sells oil, from those countries. All the citizens of the country get a share in that, my brother.
So before I can leave you with that, before I go, just what you're saying there. You see the cartel, the oil cartels, they operate in that way, and they pass on some of these spoils to the people, right? Well, the DLP is a cartel, and the CBI is an oil well.
Yes, now
And
that
they
is
don't
what I
pass
come
in-
into.
They don't pass in nothing.
Exactly
So
my
the
point.
threat is not really the CBI. The threat is DLP administration over the CBI.
And not just DLP, because the next party could come and do the same
Yes,
nonsense.
yes,
So,
yes. But brother, I gonna leave on later.
Because you're selling your birthright to a foreigner
Later,
to
brother.
come
Later, brother.
to do a set of things, and you let me tell you something. When you see you are making trades with foreigners and you're taking their money for them, you feel so belittled that you're obliged to give 50% of whatever in your country
But
to
to me,
them. Okay?
the CBI money by design supposed to emperor Dominicans.
Yes,
alone, you know.
yes.
Okay?
right now,
The national policies, we raise that money.
Yes.
The construction project
Yes.
supposed to be
Yes.
Dominican
Exactly.
man alone.
Yes.
You can't go and get foreign man to employ on our CBI
And give-
project, my brother.
and give them-
That can't be making
but
no
see
sense,
that
Fred.
a foreigner is who that is in direct control.
Of the CBI.
Because you give them
Yes,
the control,
that
so
man
you
come
selling them
and the
away.
man with Anthony Hayden
Yes.
and MNCE, the sole developer
Yeah.
Government of
not just
Dominica.
government,
Of
Using
Dominica.
CBI program. Yeah.
And all money is on
So
the CBI
our program is no longer in our control.
Is Anthony Hayden that decided who get in the contract.
They come in free port, free
We
food,
check.
free everything in the country.
They have taken the program away from us. We don't in control of our own resource. We are not in control of it. Understand me? And that's a serious danger.
But because it's a danger.
Alright, the national danger, my brother, have to be stopped, my brother. For we the people. Because them people wealthier than us. And us buying off all our land, buying our land, buying our land, my brother.
Yeah, man. Hey, that is a threat to the country in so many ways because of the people that are administering it. You check it? Because of the people that are administering it and they're taking advantage of it to enrich themselves. And it's like, they,
To hell with the people.
yeah, man, boys, yeah, that's what it is. To hell with the people. Yo,
You give them a little peanut.
yeah, man.
Yes.
And let's rock. I mean, jamming, boy. You see, man, partying, boy. You mad, man. You
Them man come build apartment.
yeah, man.
They inflate the cost of the apartment to more than price.
But the man still $800 million from Dominica on that apartment deal. Because I calculated that 660 apartments by 400,000 is 265 million. $1.2 billion they put in the account.
But they still inflating the cost of the apartment.
No, the
So,
inflated,
let us
hold on,
say-
Pyro. The 400,000 is an inflated cost, we know that already. So the inflated
calculated at that,
cost,
yeah, it's
calculated
still-
at the inflated cost, is 265 million EC.
Yeah.
265 million EC. You have in an account 1.2, you have 1.2 billion dollars, $1,200 million in an apartment, and you take out of that 300 million to build an apartment, and you say the change is yours. What the fuck is that, boy? Sorry my language, boy. How you tell me the change is yours, my brother, not Dominica change?
But that is what
How
I'm
is
telling
Anthony
you.
Henry $800 million change is that, my brother?
Well,
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
What I tell you, all man, that is what them man been doing. Defrauding the state.
Yes.
You
Watch it happen, Kem Kingsky. Them man
Yes,
boldfacedly
yes,
tell you
yes.
the passports that were
Yes,
left over after them man build the hotel.
Is there
The
is there
developer take it and
development
sell it
profit?
again. Each man come out with 20 million.
Yeah.
That is mad.
You telling me $800 million Scary put his name on the escrow account with Anthony Hayden he put up in the public there. The man take off with $800 million. Now Mr. putting the airport together to go off
How much
with
passport
another.
they sell for that?
Well, passports, unlimited passports, the man
All they
get.
can
How
do
many
for us in
passports
this
them
country.
some- because you know, the airport, because they say, they claim the airport is estimated at $1 billion,
Huh?
right?
At a what? At a what? So the airport cost as much as at a
Hold on,
billion?
man, for $1 billion PC dollars, is that
Yeah, that is it.
right? So 20,000 citizens to raise that $1 billion. So how much citizens that raise the 1.2
Pyro,
billion?
it is impossible for the airport to cost $1 billion. That,
No, I just go in with what is
say,
out
that they
there
say.
in the public.
as if you say I hear a number like that, that just sounding absolutely ridiculously impossible. Absolutely ridiculously impossible. The man can say this, the cow jump over the moon.
Signing of the contract.
They say that in
1
I know you have
billion?
something million almost.
The airport can't cost that, my brother. First of all,
We don't question
that don't make no sense.
Brother, listen to me. Listen to me.
Airport we have, you know.
Tola, listen to me a while. Listen to me a while, please. Listen to me a while. Let me make a statement there, please.
Right,
Okay, Tola, Moun Séwyè. First, we have our group there. And we decide we're going to buy a building. We have some money and we can buy a building. And the building costs a whole heap of money. And Book Junior's going to say, like, we buy the building and we don't have a say. We don't checking like, yo, that costs too much. How we gonna do? Like, what? All that, and we don't have no say. We don't saying like, nobody moves, we can't buy that, my brother. That's too much money. We need to look for something
But the man shows
better.
how we making the money.
Why?
We
Why
used
you
Why
just
you
say
think it costs
20,000 citizens?
Why you think it costs $1 billion?
Yeah, but-
now? 2 airports we have, you know.
No.
But I have to shop around.
We have
Who
three-
knows?
We have 3 international airport coming, you know.
Yeah,
one,
man.
one is Carrot and the next one is Misty.
Byro, if the airport go and take 20,000 passports, given in 2018, 2019, they had 1.2 billion, 2 billion from 4,000 passports.
So
whatever.
20,000, we already have 20,000 economic citizens.
Yes, we
Yes, that's
do. We
it.
passed the tipping point of citizenship to live into
So no, that
Dominicans,
is what I was
living in
saying.
Dominica.
That's all
But
I believe in.
Criminal.
we all know Pyro as a given fact in an airport project, my brother. All airport projects just overrun. Unlimited
Not
passport.
just all airport projects. No, that is a thing.
Unlimited passports the man have, my brother.
Bro, that is a thing I asked that question already. We never hear about no cost overruns. We never hear about
Unlimited
no accounting
passports.
from the government. Normally, I know when a government finish a project, they do the final they do the final accounting. So you put all the paperwork together and you find out exactly how much you spend. You check, because normally you tracking them things as you're going along. But then in the end, come together and you put everything together and make sure you have the final figure. Sometimes you might have to apply for cost overruns and so on. You never hear nothing about them things. So nobody never really know exactly how much these projects are costing. Who coming up with the budget for these projects?
Well,
So you
one
can
thing
see-
I know-
See that Kinski was overestimated by 60 million US dollars, where 60 million US dollars, where 2 individuals could walk away with each of them having 30 million US dollars.
Pyro, I know the best one.
Yeah.
The best one is the Prime Minister put in an escrow account 1.2 billion to build apartment buildings. According to his right man and bulldog. Rottweiler to her, Rottweiler. Apartment cost $400,000. Them man have 800 million EC in our account somewhere. I lie down. Boy, them man have 800 million in that apartment. They lie down, my brother. Them man have robbed
Rip them and ripping the country.
No,
that money buying everybody
Man
in.
is ripping,
Yes.
boy.
Everybody that money buying.
And I'm washing money, guys.
That buying
That washing
that buying everybody in the Eastern Caribbean block. From Barbados to St. Lucia to Antigua, that's buying people. Why we buying the judiciary? That is why the judiciary is poking us.
Yeah.
We just buying and spending
you're
against
correct.
us.
Yeah, man. Money in run things. But and the only way we're gonna
Money
we
the
can
wrong things, money the wrong things. That because let me tell you why money the wrong thing. All of it's your job away then.
yes.
So much corruption in politics.
Yes. So that's why I'm telling you, why I say money run things. Yes. And to combat that money right now, the people have to understand that it takes them and together to deal with that. Check it, because it's happening right in front of us, and for you to attack it, you have to attack it unified. You cannot be divided. You check it? So man, after people, yo, we have to come together, and this is going way, that's crazy, my brother. 20,000 passes.
You ask an important question. We know what comes next is get rid of Labour Party. We really want to know what comes after that part. And after that part comes the interim government. If we're good enough as a people, we get rid of Labour Party this year, we put an interim in government in, and we have our election in 2025 as normal, my brother. We put things in place.
Yeah, man.
What we need is people of high quality to run the nation for two years.
Yeah.
That is what we need. So people have to step up. And silence don't mean nothing on the Fair Labour Party. Man have to speak up.
Yeah, man.
You don't take on government and the stakes and the ladders come out all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And fellas fighting because all of a sudden is the most qualified, is the this, is the that, but they don't have the heart and the courage for the battle that have to be done for people, or for themselves, or for nation. The sacrifices that have to be made. Because all man want to be in silence and hold your house and hold your this and hold your that and hold your cards and tell you they can't sacrifice my right. But then you get rid of them, but then you want to be in government and be the ones running things. You understand? Yes, man.
I tell him he can still be on the walls and just praying.
I don't know religious leader on the interim government.
Not on interim government.
No, I'm stating my claim.
Interim government.
Yes, I don't none.
I do talk about interim government. They're talking about us to come out and speak of all the evil and the corruption that going on in the country.
The one I knew talking about, you're
I tell
talking
him he
to.
can't stay in silence there. He tell me, Pastor Rodney doing a good job, and I tell him, Pastor Rodney need help.
Yeah.
Pastor Rodney need help.
Yeah, man.
He can't do it alone, no, he and two other pastors that will be. If it have help, it would be better. More of us are there to.
Jesus alone had died on the cross and everybody getting salvation. So we think so that is the message.
They tell me they're staying indoors and praying. Praying alone can't help.
Yeah, man, you have to speak out by prayer is
Action into play.
word, action, power.
That's what it is. So they stay inside and do nothing.
Yeah, man.
You have to come out. You can't be afraid.
And we're gonna
You
up
tell
for
him
the
he's a pastor, he's a born again Christian. And you don't afraid God and you afraid man.
yeah, man.
Blessed are the poor, they shall inherit the earth and they shall inherit heaven, however they say in it. And blessed are the this and the blessed are the that. That is just to stay and take mischief on your back, my brother.
And Buju, that is why I state earlier as well, which I want to continue to reiterate, that the leaders, the real leaders in the community, step forward, which is what we say in there. Don't stay behind walls and talk.
And speak up.
I'm a real leader. Real leaders are there, my brother. We lead in, and we need other people to step forward and show yourself and step up. Don't show no
Some
fear.
whisper in.
Leadership don't have fear.
We
Can't
cannot
be
keep
fear.
that. We cannot keep that effort to keep that government on our back.
And we need the people in the community to identify, among them, see people, you can watch in the communities, and see, that man since youth, be organizing things for the, involved with certain things in community building, you know what I mean? Then like, yeah, that man there looking, that woman there looking like, somebody, let's say, I would probably say somebody like Gloria Walsh. That's a woman, you check, that's a leader, you check it. Guys, people like that, so you can identify something like that because you do see what they do for the youths and them and to develop
Yeah,
youths
but
and
they
them.
need to come out.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I say, So I call on the people to identify them, I call on them, they themselves, to show themselves by coming out and speak. Speak boldly. Don't just, when you hear see Maggie, yeah boy, them caution them. No man. Speak publicly. Let be heard, let your voice be heard.
As I tell you earlier, and most of these people are left to go to church and pray. So
if you go into church and pray, and the thing I always say, you're telling me that born again Christian, yet still you're telling me you're free. You don't feel like there because you level of victimization and
Money they are passing.
so you're free, man, and you do free God. Or you can do free God and you're free, and you tell you do free God and you're free that man.
And let me ask you
And
there.
you're supposed to stand up to and tell him, man, hey, stop your wrongdoing.
Yeah.
Stop the evil, stop the corruption.
And
tell
what,
you-
let me tell you that. What man just check here, it's like the man tell me, the pastor, the partner, the church man tell me, for losing him kind of money the man passing, and I check into myself, like, okay, so they passing money, but if your heart and you're willing, if your heart is willing to step up to them and tell them, you know what I mean, what you have to tell them, they need to come out there. Their money is meaningless to you, but you think of the other people, they're passing the money too. But if you speak, more will speak, one by one. The rest of the man come
Man,
and
you
he
see the
speak.
problem, everybody doing the thing behind the scene.
Yeah.
When you talk to a man,
Hoping and praying.
strong brother,
Hoping and
strong
praying.
sister, that few. And when I sing behind the scenes, I don't forcing nobody to want to come and speak up, you know, but
They're saying you right there, they have to reset their mind.
well, yes, well, people have to speak
You
up,
see
man,
that
so
thing
what speak
is,
up.
Margie said earlier on, and is a thing I might always say. That is a process.
Yes,
And you just have to trust the process.
Yeah, man.
And just keep pushing your vibe. Just keep
Rasta come and speak to you. Rasta come and was
when I say
compelled.
Cuba, right? I remember when I was in Cuba, if a man have a thing to say, I mean it had 1-2 people that really came out, like in my last year in Cuba. I literally see our pricing where man put up their banner and say, down with the Cuban Revolution and take a coffin and check in, and that coffin represent Fidel Castro, and take that and check in here, like they burn the coffin and walk through the town. Well, in a section of the town, it's like, but I say not to say basically, when I entered Cuba and through my years in Cuba, but then I used to really engage in the Cuban community, and I used to meet people, and a lot of men will tell you they're not supporting what the government doing, they're not supporting Fidel Castro. But you would never hear them say it publicly, you would never hear them come out and speak. Them man have to make sure they behind some closed doors and no neighbor, nobody cannot hear them. No, you check. And there they will reveal to you like, yeah, boy, you don't like what happening in the country, that communism thing, that victimization, and you get me. And that's why I just say I see Dominica in the same situation. Today, where Cuba open uprising against the government. It's like the people and the youth, the generation now checking like that. They're not going to go through what their parents go through. They're not going to go through the stories they heard. Right now it's like they checking, they want something different, they want something new. They cannot deal with that communism. They cannot, because it's not fixing their problems, it's not helping them, you check. And they're not going on continue the hypocrisy and pretend, you check. So it's like, it's just like, no, we check. Yeah, plenty people afraid to speak. But I always believe if we keep pushing, eventually people will come out, because it have those others come out. You check me? It have those others come out. I just believe it's a process, and it might take a little time, but it's a process.
Check out Oscar comment there. You watch it already? Because they touch on it. So engage.
on which part of
Little more.
it?
Huh?
Which part about it?
Well, you see what he's saying there is like we're speaking about removing the government like it's material, like it's something you're gonna take out. I was checking what he's saying by that. We need to break it down to the people why we need to So, why we need to drastically remove this government from office.
Well, in the last few weeks, journeying around the island and every Monday night, we've been expressively saying what the government is doing against the people of the country that is detrimental to the country, why it is warranted that we the people get rid of the government as soon as possible. For example, when the government and a foreigner teams up to steal $800 million from Dominica, it is something that we the people need to act on urgently. And when the entire system with that government is covering up and protecting the government that has stolen 800 and continues to steal from the people, it is a reason for us, the people, to act immediately. Now, no, hold on too long. Gilmore have which part of the Constitution that empowers us to get rid of the government? There's no part in the Constitution that is written for we the people getting rid of the government. It has ministers have to have this and that and vote for no confidence for prime minister and all kind of things for the system that is corrupted. It is not written for we the people to correct it.
Yes, sir.
But however, it provides for we the people to step up and correct it. So we the people are going to step up and correct the lawlessness, the constitutional breaking that is going on in Dominica, because we have no choice.
That is why there's a who protects the Constitution.
We the people.
How is the Constitution protected?
Well, no, the police cannot explain the Constitution.
Well, the police is always
I just want to tell you, if the police now cannot explain the Constitution, that means the police cannot even make a statement when you arrest man.
now think of it.
But if you cannot explain the Constitution,
That is just
or you upholding the law.
Yeah, Maggie. Oh, I didn't tell Maggie that. Maggie, I informally asked the police about the idea, and the police flat out decline, my brother, say they cannot participate, it doesn't interpret law. If they have to do anything of the sort, they have to send the DPP or the AG. The police doesn't participate in things like that.
If the police cannot interpret the law, the police cannot make a statement when they arrest people. First of all, if you cannot interpret the law, you don't even have a right to arrest a man. You don't have a right to arrest a man, because how are you going to make a statement? On what come to charging me, man?
Or you investigating them with
But I telling you, but you say you
or you determining if it's first degree, second degree, third
the law
degree.
not supposed to interfere with no kind of a criminal act.
for you to arrest somebody. Huh? It's either somebody. But you see, when you tell me that, you know what I check? That is why we are the state that we are at.
Yes, sir.
But of course, because
And that is why
the police fail to do
that is
their
why
work.
I've
I
been
always say
telling you, and I just always tell you, we cannot have a commissioner that is not a lawyer, my brother.
Yeah.
Madness and
Correct.
Because policing requires interpretation of the
law.
Of course.
Remember, them man know about the traditional arrest.
Yeah.
Arrest a man for weed, arrest a man for killing, arrest a
Yeah,
man for
man.
common
Yes.
stealing.
Yes.
But in this modern time, we have what? Man stealing in all technical different ways.
But he's stealing.
Right, white collar crime. That is why I just ask, man, how many people have gone to jail? How many Dominicans have gone to jail for white collar crime?
None.
Who have been convicted?
None, because look, men, that is wrong. Men should be in jail.
I see a
Like
part
white collar
there.
Who
crime.
have been convicted?
The man trial not yet pass.
Huh?
The man trial not yet pass.
Not now they do nothing. The
So
first time
the man
big
trial
will
not
want to
yet
fix
pass.
the problem.
Let us look at things. You check. No, you have been all kind of new laws been enacted to update to deal with offshore banking. But who actually overseeing that these laws have been protected or these laws have been respected. Now it's on the police. It's on the police, you know, to interpret it. Whether now that is why you see it's on the police to interpret it whether the law has been broken or not. Because if a man bring a complaint against you, the police have to investigate and come to the conclusion whether or not there is a possibility that you broke the law.
The
evidence proves. So if the evidence have some kind of leaning towards you breaking the law, then they will arrest you and charge you, and then you go to court and defend yourself.
Because the police have to interpret some of your actions
But
relative to breaking the law.
because if a man there doing a crime there now, and a policeman passing, he have to be able to interpret it.
If it's really been a crime or that is illegal or
So when the man
everybody
say,
them man have been arrested for the past time.
Correct.
It's illegal.
yeah,
And that's
go to
fine.
prison and you don't know,
It's
and
very,
then like, let them go for
it is
nothing.
very,
Correct.
how would I say it now?
Why you think you have guys? Why you
so
think?
correct,
Why you
my brother.
think?
You know why I'm so correct?
But hold on a while. Why you think
Serious.
people getting away? Why you think? Why you think enough people getting away?
Yeah.
On bail, getting bail for murder
Yeah.
charges, this kind of thing. It's
Correct,
because
my
these
brother.
guys, they really know how to interpret the law. They don't.
No, but seriously,
Coming back to that Pyro, if they
you
had
see
known,
that part there,
it would be difficult for man to even can get bail on a murder charge.
so the police would interpret discrimination. You'd have to see, analyze,
Exactly,
and
Paul.
interpret what somebody do as discrimination.
no. That is why I just slam Davidson Valerie. Because you cannot be a senior police officer and have comprehension problems.
And you
You
don't know.
cannot be a senior police officer and you have interpretational problems. You check them things too basic for a senior police officer to be having issues. How you can interpret it a law when it is broken? See, that place Newton, 108 Victoria Street. Huh? You have government office and a political office in one space, my brother, with the same staff. Huh? That alone is grounds of discrimination. Huh?
That's a crime.
That alone is a grounds for discrimination and victimization. So the police can only execute on a crime if they get a report then. So the police cannot say, well, okay,
No, they can move on a crime in progress, they say.
they can move on a crime in progress. So that is a crime in progress. Right?
Yes, that's a.
So they have to wait
For,
for
Or
somebody
is that a
to come and-
prosecutable crime?
Of course it is a
Or
prosecutable
indictable
crime.
crime, or however they say in it there.
it's a crime to the people.
No, being a
That's a
crime.
It is
major
a crime
crime.
of discrimination.
Yes.
It creates a situation of discrimination.
Yes, yes.
And a man
But
tell you about
I just find it is very, I don't say disingenuous. No. It is very, and I use the word very simple. It is very unprofessional, I find, as the chief law enforcement institution in Dominica, outside of the Attorney General office and the office for DPP, that the police of Dominica cannot speak about the Constitution. And if you are,
Choose not to.
they choose not to. Let's say use the word. Let us use the
why
word.
would you do that?
Let
though?
us let me use the
Why would you
word
do that?
cannot for now.
I can never say they cannot.
Yeah, no.
Because
they
they are arresting people. And if you're arresting persons, it's because you're interpreting that that person has broken the law.
Well, yes.
Or there's a possibility of that person
Pyro,
breaking the law.
let me just hold
Because if a
on.
man come and bring a complaint on you and he bring a false complaint, you're supposed to investigate and see whether the complaint
Yes,
is false,
I-
whether
yes.
there's a possibility of charging that
Yes.
person or
But
not.
let me finish what I say in Pyro. I find it very unprofessional that the chief law enforcement institution in Dominica, and I know what you will say, no, Pyro, they don't want to, but I will use the word cannot for now. Because my encounter with police officers, 90% of them have never read the Constitution across the board, left big green suit, knee small man.
So that means we have a
So
institutional problem.
you're going to have a problem in the police presenting officers that can discuss discuss the simplicity of what we had asked you to interpret this and interpret. Just let us discuss the fundamental rights and freedoms. How do you know what you're protecting if you have never read a man's fundamental rights and freedom? And how can you not be able to discuss that? How can you not be able to be the perspective on that was wrong? And the only thing you want to present, you tell me, is the Attorney General. You know what I asked the police officer? If it's the same Attorney General that allowed the President to break the Constitution, I supposed to listen to. He didn't say nothing. He just said he didn't say nothing on that one. Because you're going to send a man. They say you send the AG. But look, the AG fail to recognize.
The man is a minister of labor.
No. He can be minister what he wants. His role is to prevent the government from breaking the law. His role is to be the government law advisor, blah, 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 blah. The Constitution don't make him a minister. He's supposed to recognize that Charles Séwyè should be unable to do that and speak about it. Yes, sir.
So how is it he's supposed to advise the government on legal situations yet still stand against the government in a legal situation? That's a conflict of interest, sir.
Thanks, sir.
By right, the Attorney General is supposed to stand independent of the government at the same time acting as the government legal arm, my brother. Mr. You see the same way you just talk about the judiciary supposed to that. Mr. was supposed to come up and step up as the Attorney General, the highest legal authority on that side, to say blah 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 blah. The Constitution say Mr. not supposed to be able to do that. It fell on his doorstep, not the judiciary. The judiciary still can fight the case, but it was Levi Peter that was supposed to come and speak up and say Charles Séwyè breaking the Constitution. Who's that? No.
Judiciary have to put him there.
Who's that?
Levi Peter.
I don't say no. They advise for him to be there, but like I say, it was for him to speak up and say straight up that is a violation of the laws of Dominica. But my brother, you have Bernie Stevens, or what is her name, Bernie Brooks, my brother, there for 12 years in Dominica. You think the 800 million though by the judiciary then? The 800 million by people beyond Dominica. You have a magistrate that had three times her term.
Yeah, we have to liberate ourselves.
You say that was enough to get rid of that government.
Too much.
I don't study the level of corruption I get. For all that years, we have that present government. And they not saying it is fit to raise minimum wage.
Yeah, I start with.
Ban that government don't love the people.
Yeah, I started.
We have to be sick as a nation to accept in this time. All who that watching themselves and telling themselves, Labour can't have a support Labour, and they themselves not even realizing, but that is the minimum wage. They don't move in.
What are we talking about? Love. Brother, we in Dominica cannot tell you about discrimination.
You understand? Everybody, whether they labor, whether they workers, all of them talking about it.
And man does be big man does be watching in your face and telling you, yeah, Marty, you know, if it, it is that is happening. They will not do that. They will not do that because because of what you say. If you're saying, you don't think that's victimization. The government will not help you, they will not assist you, they will not do things because of what you say.
Yesterday a man with me, Sylvina, a partner from Putisava. His sister is that representing United Workers Party for Putisava. And here what he telling me, that's what Tola, my big prevention I free to come close to you, okay? Because all the fellas too vocal. Only you mad. Scary time them do like people that talk against them like just so they get on by only. I tell him, well, let me tell you that there is no money. they can have to buy it.
No thought. Tall, my brother.
Yeah, you stupid boy. You mad. Them fellas so afraid people that they talk about them like only talking there, boy. Them man only other option is to buy all the way. I tell you, you think they can try that? You think that do not look to yourself? You tell me too that no matter what you tell me, they must buy all this. No matter what you tell me,
They must buy.
they must buy all this. So I tell him, they must buy us. I tell him, let me tell you something. Last week Thursday, I sit down in my bar and I listen to your sister, Lambert, and the other woman from La Plaine. Huh? Pulling in fire on that wicked system. You watching me and telling me, they go and buy us. How come they don't buy your sister? How come they don't buy your sister? You just leave and go in. I tell him, when they buy your sister, they can come for me after. But unless they cannot buy your sister, then they can't buy me. Because I myself not for sale. You can't buy me. More than one word. You go check in that.
Yo,
Man, I fit to come close to the fellas, you know, because all the fellas, yeah.
I want to tell the people, and them, you know, our people, the serious people, the Moun Séwyè, I want to tell all you. I hope all we taking notes there. Please take note and take note of this one. On the list of things we have to fix when we remove this government from office, we add that to the list of things we have to fix. Our commissioner, the commissioner of police. No, that part is that part is fire room. But the next commissioner of police that we put there when we remove that one has
The
to.
commissioner is supposed to resign by tomorrow because
Yes.
they cannot talk about truck scheme matter.
Oh, you said what about the commissioner is
Black not supposed to.
The commissioner is supposed to be alone.
Yes.
Them fellas supposed
We
to.
can have a police that
So all the lawyers and them out there, leader, not.
Power, we're telling you that.
Yeah.
Man's supposed to be able to
That
have
position is
understanding
up, eh?
properly, my brother.
What?
Start to look, start to
Man's supposed to be able to
identify.
understand law by now, my brother. Man's a prosecutor, you know, my brother.
I like it, job prosecutor. Why is a prosecutor and you don't know law?
Boy, you have to understand
Man
law.
can even, okay, you're a police and you're a prosecutor and you still say you cannot come and talk about the constitution.
Man,
Huh?
dog that.
Yeah,
one
that
there,
you know, you're a
Power to.
police prosecuting fellas in court too.
Yes.
Huh? So how they gonna talk about the constitution? And
But
the
you don't hear
constitution
it, man. Because, I know why he talk, you know. Because
they
he's one, they choose to. That is
and
one.
they know the law has been clearly violated.
That is one. They choose to.
Them man
Trust me,
totally
yeah,
aware of
correct.
what happening in the
Yeah.
world. Them man
Two.
know.
But them man know your fault why the country not state.
But,
Them
but the man
man
don't
know.
understand
You will
you,
shoot
man.
yourself in your foot.
In the foot
Anytime
alone.
they come, yeah. Their head, yes. I agree by road, their head. Anytime they come and sit down with us to discuss the constitution,
If they even have
they're going
influence,
to blow their brains out.
you know, shoot yourself in the head.
Yeah.
Suicide they commit.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
suicide, the man decide.
Boy.
Well, somebody have to decide.
Yes. Because they come into just
But them man know the crimes that
Yeah,
happen
man.
and who that
they
perpetrated.
come and just condemn. I will just be totally condemning themselves.
One of the main reasons.
Boy,
Yes,
yeah, man.
the
We have to
people
force
is a
them, man.
main
We have to step
factor
up, you
too.
know.
Huh?
The good
Yes,
police
the
is up
people
there.
is a factor.
You
too.
what?
The good
One of
police
the
is
main
up there.
reasons
It's a good police.
Why
Yes.
the country is
Yeah,
in
man.
that
Yeah,
state?
we will have to find
And
them.
that
man.
level of corruption in
Right,
high
that's my
places
next
is because of the police
Yes,
fail
I don't
to
tell
do
you
their
no.
own.
Most of
properly.
all commissioners since 2004 to be investigated for finance.
Let me tell you that. Talking to the police and them out
Yes,
there.
every single commissioner. Because since 2004, no, I want every commissioner since 2006. Because since 2006, they bring in $1 million assets on $5,000 salary, and no commissioner back, no commissioner to do nothing. We go through we go through Lestrade, we go through Carrot, and we go through Carbon. We have Commissioner Gordon now there. No Commissioner Gordon. So it's 4 commissioners that don't invite. That one at there now, is Commissioner Gordon now.
Correct.
The man is superhero police, you know, in comic book, you know, Commissioner Gordon. You have to give the man the boy, the man take the reins, my brother. Like, the man is Commissioner Gordon now.
Okay.
Before it was Carbon was Commissioner Gordon. That one take the reins, he's Commissioner Gordon, like in Batman. He's the big. You see, man to be on the front line, then the man is on front line. So there, he's a hero.
Oh, yes, I'm scared to get rid of it.
But, is what?
Yes, I'm scared to get rid of it.
So you have to get rid of Mr. You have to put a greater mercenary there. What really? Scared can't get rid of Mr. But which better police than really, no?
A sicker man.
A sicker side.
A man that has no understanding. Just take orders.
Let's take orders. A flamethrower.
Like that,
They have to make no.
real puppet.
I knew for you. If you want to shot point.
No, that one conscience will burn him when she reach up
Yeah,
there.
conscience.
Hey.
Yes, it will burn him. It will burn him.
That
We
bad
have-
conscience.
He will take him.
Right, them man they have conscience.
They have.
If them man had conscience, them man would have
They have a little bit in
Them
line.
man have conscience.
In fact, I tell you, you should have come church.
We have to.
If you had come church, you would have his conscience.
Sister do have a conscience. Them man have two face.
Don't. No. Pyro,
Two-faced them
Pyro, if you
man
had come church, we would have break him.
Boss,
If you had come church, if you had
Them
come
man
with us, you would have break.
face. Mr. have two face, Mr. have conscience.
Dynamic tension.
Man,
Oma, call him
them
names
man
and
bull
them.
face.
Listen
man,
them.
they
Listen.
do.
Listen the few.
Which few?
The good police.
It don't no good police, my brother.
Weeks is a man when we approach Weeks. I feel Weeks to come and discuss
find
that. We need to get, yeah
The
man.
people of Dominica
Let's approach Weeks.
should have a discussion, and I
Yeah.
back in Pyro from last week,
Yeah.
with the police of Dominica about the constitution
That's
of
simple.
Dominica.
And we
You
should
cannot
demand
be
that
the
voice.
police whose job it is to defend Dominica,
Yes.
and you're not
I
defending the
say, but
constitution.
So you
I find that is
in a political
Brother.
party, why you say
Brother,
that?
no. That is bullshit, my brother.
No, and listen to me.
Somebody, why you say
And listen to
that?
me. The man cannot deny the people that, my
You
brother.
cannot deny the people
You
the right
working
to
for the
discuss
people
the
and we the
constitution,
people
my brother.
with you.
We want to let you
Brother,
understand it. You want to know how, what and what,
As a gentleman,
Yes.
And just put it
Yes.
together.
and invite them.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
I tell you, you have to make it an
cannot deny
event to get them to
people.
come and chicken out of it
Yes, we're going to do
We're
it.
gonna create the event
Events.
and we're gonna make it happen.
Yes, I.
and make them
Whether
chick.
Yes.
them man come officially or
Unofficially.
unofficially, but
Yeah.
the police have to show.
And we have to make and if they don't show up, we're going to go
But
to them.
the official
and make
police
them
have to
know.
show up there, or they're going and have, or that
Yeah, the
going to
people.
prove a point to the people of
Yeah,
Dominica
Dominica.
that them man docking their their job. Which and most important, one of the thing is, their job is to educate the people about the law. So how can
Yes.
you not
Want to
understand
take that
the constitution to speak it or discuss it with the people?
the first person that's supposed to educate you about the law is the police. From the moment they arrest you, you're supposed
Yeah.
to be able to
But see that
interpret
now,
it
the
properly.
constitution telling
What
you.
is
The
what
constitution telling you a policeman arrest you, you're supposed to read your rights.
Your rights, boy.
Look at the thing with them man.
Them man
Zone.
arrest man, how much
Yeah, look
time?
at
No
us.
man
They
never
never
write
tell you
your
that,
rights.
boy.
Yeah.
They never tell you that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when you see the arrest,
Yeah,
all I
you
just
never
go-
tell-
when you see the
On
arrest,
TV,
all
I don't
do
even
is
see
cross
them.
my leg.
Yeah.
When you see ready to question me, all I do is start laughing for them.
You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. The
No,
police
One
not-
doesn't do that.
can't
And when they
afford
go
one,
court,
one
they
will
say they do it too.
Oh, yeah, we are. Yeah, man.
Because they know the procedure.
Yeah, man. Tell people their rights, my brother.
So why they not do it?
You're teaching them not up there then. Anything.
I love feel like I don't know how to follow, but me say I got funny. When you see the
Yeah, we're gonna organize. I'm going to speak to my friend, my lady at UE. We're gonna do that in UE.
And make that a
Serious
official
event.
Yes, a national event.
Yes, and force police headquarters
Yes.
not to show up.
Yes.
We can invite police and they'll show up on their individual
Well,
basis,
yes,
no
sir.
problem. But police headquarters
Official
have
capacity.
to send people, my brother.
Yeah, man. ASP Weeks and them out. Yeah, all that come
My
forward.
own week separate.
Yes, sir.
Because Weeks does speak his mind.
Yeah.
It's a PRO.
Weeks is the PRO. Well, we still send, if they don't come, we still inviting Weeks. Tell them to send
man.
somebody else.
can be there, not be down nothing about in private, on the same forum.
Or the police going to discuss or cannot
That's
discuss
madness, my brother.
the constitution with the people with the people.
That's like in the
Them man know the negative. They
So if we ask Levi Peter to come and discuss the constitution, he gonna duck to them. He gonna duck Levi Peter.
You never hear.
just like
just go in front of his door and keep the discussion.
just like just like watch me.
We should go and keep one there
Yeah,
for
man.
true, you know.
Just like let's say an example of that.
Write it in your mouth.
Writing in your body,
Discuss
you
it.
know.
Yeah, man, I find we
Well, we have to keep a meeting there in his house, you know.
Yeah, really. I can't believe Mr. Stage there. And we don't have a
Never
discussion.
should be a man,
Our
yeah.
discussion,
No.
no, say yet. No, that's we have to fix that, my brother. We need to have a discussion and Mr. We need to make Mr. come out and listen, and yeah.
Discuss.
Yeah, man, we have a discussion and
We check
Mr. my
this,
brother. Yeah.
Fair all.
Look at it, you know.
4 o'clock the man coming in. 4 o'clock the man coming at his home and push transport back there now.
Sit down.
Oh.
That's what we have to.
No man, the man cannot. Just like I'm going to give an example of in professional sports, NBA, NFL, and everything there. The players cannot deny the media of an interview, you know. They're fining you for that, you know. That you cannot deny that the against you will do.
So
Once they come with the
how
mic
the
and ask you
community
question,
policing working if we want to discuss with them and they duck in discussing with us, my brother?
Find out, don't worry.
yeah. You're going to get them UE to send invitation from the UE.
Discussion about the
And
community.
yeah, this event,
Huh?
yeah, man, we're going to put this event
We
together.
need them to discuss.
You get the place, you get
No, I don't community policing discussion. We come to discuss the constitution.
Find out.
Let's invite them. Let us see. Let's put it
yeah, we
together.
invited Farrell too.
Farrell don't know the
Yeah,
constitution.
man, we invited all of them. The man, but we know.
Fair roll.
them,
You
man.
see, the police have a whole set of notice for
But
them.
I'm to
Fair
Buju
roll.
partner. FIU.
Davidson Valerie.
No, Farrell was the scary bodyguard. Farrell must be investigated for financial crimes. Must be investigated for financial crimes. That's all the man have to get investigated.
Yeah, man.
All them
Yeah, man.
interposition. All
This
them.
Yeah, brother.
This is a watchdog for the government.
No, you get something already.
Like that is a
You
watchdog
will
for the
invest in-
government. They
And-
never-
Once you have something that out of value, in problem.
Before we end, what I want like to mention that I have in my mind, and I thankful for it. You know, you see me being in, I never wanted to be in administration. You know, I like to be hands-on in the field, doing the work on the ground. But I had no choice, and I had to go in the administration because nobody was, I do find they was doing what needs to be done. So I check in, I have to go out, and I learned a lot from it. And it teach me now, like, what happens is that when you come in, then people are going administration and they feel like kind of power and they feeling like they're in control. So then when the money come in, it's them and then the people that they operating for that, have them in the administration, they feel like as if, well, they are their servant and they have to just humble and just relax and we organize all you want. Those kind of things like that. I seen that. You check it, it happening in the sports. Football and them thing there. When man sit down in a football house and how much me, 50% how much 1.7 million, how much money to develop the sport. The administration are well, everybody getting paid well and thing. But you don't see the money trickling down to the players who are the most important component to that. You check it, and by that I don't mean pay the players, but I mean you have to invest in the development, because that's what they give you the money for, to invest in the development, to develop them into, what they need to be for the thing to run. You check it. For these people and them, it's like, once, like the buck stops with the administration. So that means the players, the people that are in administration are not for the players. They are for themselves, and the people that are passing in, giving them the money to develop, And that is the problem we have in the country. Yeah, so the country running. Exactly how the country running. I seen that clear. Just being involved in the sport and administration. And that's why I telling you, me Maggie, I am the people, I am of the people. And my vibration is for the people, with the people, for the people. That is what therefore I come at the helm to assist the people for us to get the sport, our better quality, and use it to help the young people and them to empower them and make them become, get to do something about them with themselves. And that's our problem. We need to have, like I say, people, righteous people, you know, people that are about country, about the nation, national development, and not about their personal thing, and man just want to grab, and you know, and suck and just...
You don't need recap, you don't need
Yes,
backbiters, you don't need
Yes, I.
oppressors.
Trust me, my brother, and we have to take ownership of our country, my brother. It's time for us to take ownership of our country. We have this big decision already made. Everybody, it's time. So we're gonna organize that, my brother. We're wasting time because that is madness. People and them are administering the law. There's not only discuss the law with the people. What we you're supposed to do that on your own. You're supposed to invite you. So we're doing that and invite the people. And tell the people come and learn the law so you can know, you know what I'm saying?
Or you can give a better system.
I just see it in sports where I am. You know, the FIBA, the referees, or you know, or FIFA referees, they make a new law. The ball, you can now pass the ball in the box. They make sure, they make all the people and them know that now. We change that law so you can allow that in the game. So now you can, when you come there, you see the man doing that, you can say, you take all your clubs and tell them, this is the new law. You're the head of the club, this is the new law. And share it with your club and make sure all the people that know the law. So when we come and play, man will be confused. So we have a lot of confused people in the country because they doesn't know the law. So they confused, so they feel like when you're telling them things, it's like, man, this is talking for them. Because they confused, they're thinking like, what? Them man in authority, they know. So what they say is right. And you don't have to adhere to it. But that's not it. You have to know the law because these people are there, like all you're saying, like we're saying, those people are there administering the law do not know the law. So they're just going to waste your time and violate your rights. And you just taking more, you know what the man do is jump and kick man and beat up man and things. So instead of just coming and tell you on the arrest coming for everybody and they tell you, you know, and if you read, try and read this like me. They still do it. I know. You check it. And which is madness. All the time you see them and someone buraking you and this. Yo, just come and tell me you are under arrest. And if I try to run and resist, then, you know.
But when you're arresting somebody, you're supposed to inform them what you're
arresting them for. Yeah, man.
And you're supposed to read them their rights.
Yeah.
You check.
You don't come and tell me jack man and boo man on the wall.
And by the court, they see a policeman that's come and hold a man by some police.
What the
You check. And them things disrespectful, you check, them man that try to take away your pride and dignity. You try to feed it to you in a way. Yeah, make you feel like there's nobody. You check. But by right, when you're arresting somebody, you're supposed to come and speak to the individual.
Yeah, man.
You know, okay, you've been arrested for that, for such a reason, and you're supposed to read your rights to make you know what you are. You check. Because, not because you've been arrested, that means you're nobody. You check. You see the same way you have rights. You check. But these people, their country there, something needs to be done and something has to be done. You check.
Definitely, brother.
And yeah,
personally,
it's
time now for the government to go.
How I tell all you? I always say something about scary, replace COVID somewhere. You don't want to reach that point. That man have to come out there. No. Either we the people.
We want him to come out there now. But
yeah. We the people.
You people have to get it together.
Yeah, man. We the people have to stand up and make it and do what needs to be done. Stand up, people. Stand up for Dominica. Stand up for country. Come ye forward, sons and daughters. Let's go. Stand up for your country. Take ownership of your country. Let's take ownership of our country, people. It's time. Be ready. Let's go. Yeah, man.
We cannot be here in ministers telling us in $1 billion economy and we're living in that state.
How?
That's madness.
Yeah, man. So people,
it's time for us to recognize what that against us. And what that against us is not them politicians. We that against one another. We that against one another.
It's not politics, but them
politician is not our problem, boy.
Them
we
man.
That is our problem.
Huh?
We
See
that
that?
is our problem.
Your neighbor, your brother, your sister, your cousin, is somebody that have to carry a message and go and tell them political operatives, boy, Mr. against this, Mr. against that, Mr. saying this, Mr. saying
Realize
that.
our problem.
For them to be able to victimize you.
Well, let them go and talk Rasta, speak. And don't
There's
care
a
how
matter
to
of let them go and speak to check.
We need to stop that.
Them
need to
thing
stop, man.
that destroying,
The community.
you check. Them thing destroying we the people, them thing destroying who we are as Dominicans. Because man put in the whole political agenda, allowing somebody to be victimized. You check, and for what? What benefit it have in that?
And that have the country the way it is, you know.
But of course,
Because you see what happening is now, my brother, let me tell you, anytime a politician have to be put in division within their people, there is no good politician.
not just politician, anybody that doing them things, vacality.
Yeah, it's vacality.
brother.
Once you put in division within your
Check.
people, my brother, you know good. You check it out, and that a lot of us, the people doing that, the politicians and them doing it. So we just in a mess we live in ourselves. We recognizing what we're doing to ourselves.
Yeah, and then politician enabling it, encouraging
Yeah.
it. Check.
And both happening both sides in. It's like because you usually liberate, Mr. Black tend to really speak to you. Nah, my brother.
Well, I told her one thing I know, yeah.
It is tough, boy.
Poverty knocking on all of us doorstep if you don't open the door already. And to solve our problem, we have to come as a united people, which is something we have never achieved before in our whole 42 years of an independent nation. We just talk about it and take it for granted, the words people, the Dominican people. But I personally don't believe in the 42 years of independence that we, as a nation, have achieved what we can call the Dominican people united together for each and other.
But we didn't say it, we go out every Saturday.
We
Most places go
have
into.
to reach the point where we are united as a people, where we are for the betterment and the best interest for each other,
But you can
not
get
the
into
comfort
that.
of a few, not the comfort of a prime minister, not the comfort of a political party, but the comfort and the prosperity and the benefit of all of us. We have resources, we should all benefit from our resources. We should be mama guy out of our heritage to the point where we are going to be, if not in slavery already, we have to come out of mental slavery, and that is what we have to achieve. Emancipating ourselves from mental slavery to achieve being the Dominican people that we aspire to be. Yeah, man.
Because you see, why don't that we do it? You see, all communities we go into, you see, the why I tell the people, why I always tell the people that division need to go down. Because we go into certain communities, let's like Wesley, for example. When we went to Wesley, there was some people are saying, there you go in, but they live a stronghold boy. You're mad, not there for people. If they have live a stronghold and work a stronghold, in Dominican be all we going anywhere. We bringing the knowledge and the education to every living soul. If they have news read and news book. When we go and do that, what we doing now, we live in the same division. How we expect to see change if we have to choose where we going to keep a meeting now. We can't tell ourselves, okay, we don't go and buy that set of people there because there's labor. No. We went to Granby. We never tell ourselves we don't go and Granby.
Yeah, man, Dominicans we go and address the Dominican people, our people.
The division is within us.
Yeah,
soon.
yeah,
Both sides have it. You know.
yeah.
Labor rights telling you, oh, don't go there because there's workers. Workers telling you, don't go there because there's labor. My boy, we need to stop that.
Yeah.
When your house on fire, it's
Tribalism.
When your house on fire, it's labor and workers. It's you and your neighbor that have. No, you there know as the neighbor there. You is workers and Mr. labor. His house on fire, but you live it next door. You don't also do now. You don't think you lash up with the water. You must try and put a help there to out that because you don't want your house to burn wrong. So we need to put down that division, my brother. After marriage, we are saying that now.
The government that come and divide us, so we have to do better, my brother, as a people. It's all about us, we people. We have to achieve it.
Come back to what Barry saying. Forgive him. Don't give him because he doesn't support all you. The rat race like that. That he just said it was Captain Barry.
Yeah, and you can never develop as a nation like that.
No,
We
we can't.
never make it as a people.
No.
Check. Anywhere you have division, that is just what it is. You check, the people going to be weak.
That's not the whole long
Check
start.
me. And with division, it's poverty that going to rule. And it's just sadness, you check.
Now,
But it doesn't allowing others to victimize us, it doesn't allowing the discrimination, it doesn't allowing the negativity, check. So it's only upon us as a people, us as a country, community, that we can get rid of the victimization, get rid of the discrimination. Because the least of them things it have, my brother, is the better for all of us.
of course.
You check me. Our government should never be partaking in any activity that discriminating or victimizing
The people.
a fellow citizen
Yeah, man.
or the people they're responsible for it. And for our government to be openly victimizing and discriminating people, we have a serious problem.
Yeah, because no matter who a person may want to support politically, it is the government duty to still give you the assistance that is needed to you and my brother. It is there. It is.
And to help you too, because
but
apart
I
from
tell
the
you,
assistance, because like what I was saying in the
the
Saturday talk,
opportunity, you
it
can-
have people who that are drug addicts, all kind of a thing.
Yeah, you-
And the government would just give them assistance without no type of say you need to be in a program. You check me, show you want to better yourself.
Yeah.
You check me. Not just about showing you want you are Labour right or showing you supporting Labour Party. No, show you want to be a better citizen, show you want to be a better person in your community. You check. So you're getting rewarded for what? Being a nuisance in the community, but just because you supported Labour Party, you'll get the assistance. That doesn't make sense, Bridget.
And a minister is what now? Your servant too. Our servant.
You're supposed to want to see responsible and productive citizens as a government. So I see it. The government supposed to want to see the people being able to produce, the people being able to contribute in healthy, positive manner towards the country. But you have somebody that is a drug addict, how they going to produce or contribute in a positive
Nothing at all.
and you're supposed to create rehab centers, do something, make program. You check me. A man below the poverty line, you're supposed to have education programs, different things to assist that person. You check. So there's a whole lot of things we're missing and a whole lot of things we're lacking, but it's not to say it's we have the knowledge. You check me. I mean,
We know what
I
we want.
For sure, we're not the only set of people that's seeing them things.
We know what we
You
need.
check. So
We know our problem.
right now it's on us as a nation to get on the ball,
Yeah.
to come together and let us make
Fulfill the
Dominica
mission.
Yeah, man.
a place that all of us can enjoy. Man.
Yes, my brother. That's all, brothers and sisters. That's all. Let's
of
make
us
the
can
country a place that all of us can enjoy because it's dear for all of us, and it is.
Equal rights and
I mean, it's
justice.
possible.
to all
Everything is
man.
there for us. There's enough. There's enough for all of us. There is enough for all of us, my people. Nobody are going to stay without for you to have more and this and that. You have enough to sight all of us and have plenty left over. So let's just be eye with one another, my brother, and don't want to see another brother down and you don't have none and have free and four, and let's come together and let's enjoy the country together. Bless up.
Enough thanks. Good night, all the viewers. Yana Broadman. Respect to everybody. Thanks for the contribution and the support all times, you know. Big up all yourself. Love and respect all the time.